Hey Jews, just before Pesach, Passover, I wanted to explain something very interesting about the story of Passover and a little bit about what's in the Torah. So again, I'm not a rabbi, but I think that that the Torah is a lot different and more interesting than a lot of us who don't listen to rabbis may think. So for example, the Torah is teaching us how to integrate all 5 dimensions of our reality, how to live in this physical world with a spiritual element, with our soul, which is the spiritual aspect of us, and with time. Right now, I just want to look at time a little bit because it's very interesting to know that there are 2 major groups whose calendar go by the moon. Okay, this is Islam, and Israel. Okay, so our calendars go by the moon. Now, we are descended from Avraham. They are also descended from Avraham Avinu. Okay, so Avraham Avinu had a very special connection with God. And he had the information of God in our reality because he was a genius and because he went out and found God, basically. And God revealed himself to Abraham and gave him some information about the physical reality, the spiritual reality, and time, our reality. Sorry, the dimensions here, okay? And Abraham gave that information to Yitzchak. Okay, and we're told that Yitzchak was Ish Tam, which is basically like somebody who is innocent in a way. It's hard to explain this word, hard for me, I'm not a rabbi. But Yitzchak was Ish Tam. Now the reverse of Tam is Met, which is dead, or die, dead. Okay, so he gave him this information also. He was alive in this reality, this 5-dimensional reality. If you have this information correct, then that's health, that's prosperity, that's this heightened spiritual elevated reality that you're living in, and then you are truly alive in this reality. Without that information, how alive are you? If you don't have your soul, if you're living properly, your soul is in tune with your physical reality, with your physical body, with your environment, with all that stuff, you are healthy. Whenever we suffer any health issues, it's because this is not working properly. There's a deficiency, there's a defect in the harmony of this reality in your individual life, okay? And so Avraham gave this information of God through this line to Yitzchak, Yaakov, then through the 12 tribes. One specific tribe is Levi. I have other classes on all of this. And from the tribe of Levi came Moses. And he brought for us the Torah. Okay? He gave us his information in a way that throughout our timeline, we've been able to connect to that, learn it, and understand how to live in our physical reality. As things got more physical, our spirituality, our spiritual level fell. Okay, so over time, our spiritual level as the nation of Israel, which is the nation that balances this spiritual element in our reality. So over time, we can see that when that happened, so especially after the destruction of the first temple, our spirituality dropped. And so things got more physical, and that led to other dominance, basically, in our reality of other ideologies, and not Judaism. So Judaism, at its core, is what's in the Torah, because we're told that the Torah is a guidebook which teaches us how to make this 5-dimensional reality as good as possible, where we know that there's a God, like it was in First Temple time, okay? So basically, like it was in the First Temple times, when we had the nation of Israel in the land of Israel with the laws of the Torah, with the laws of the Torah, the holy people, the holy nation of Israel, in the holy land of Israel with the Torah. So we're being a holy nation doing spiritual things in the land of Israel. That is not what we have today. Okay, and we're going to go a little bit into that in a minute. That's not what we have today. We have anti-Torah laws, okay, in the land of Israel, and hardly any spirituality, really real spirituality, okay? We don't have the kingdom of David, and we don't have the temple, okay? So our reality is more physical, okay, and more intellectual, let's just say, okay, than spiritual. So the Islam, so Abraham also had, after Sarah died, he had sons of Keturah, which was, he sent them to the east with some spiritual information, but not the spiritual information. This is why the nation of Israel is told to separate. Okay, so we keep this information, okay? And there's, after this physical reality ends, there's going to be Olam Haba, a spiritual reality. So everything we learned how to do here, which was difficult to learn and difficult to practice and difficult to maintain over time because of the mixture here with the physical aspect, which is at odds. You can see it's at odds with this. The more you want to go physical, the less, and materialistic, and the less spiritual our reality is becoming. So Ishmael, they also go by the moon, but they don't have the understanding and the knowledge and the information in this guidebook of how to make the time element work. Okay, so they have the moon calendar, but it's like, it's willy-nilly. So their holidays don't always line up into specific seasons. So, and ours do, because we're commanded that Passover, coming up, always needs to be in the spring. It always needs to land in the spring. So how do you do that? If you're connecting your time with the other aspects of our reality, then you know how to do that, okay? It's the secret of the time element, which is given to us in the Torah, and which our sages and whatever knew how to calculate for us. So this year is a special year. It's called a pregnant year with 2 Adars. We had Adar Aleph and Adar Bet. Okay, so we had 13 months this year. And the correction of the calendar, so that everything will always line up perfectly for us if only we understood what to do and how to do that. So we would know that when we pray the 3 prayers of the day, it does something spiritually, because it's connected to a certain and specific time. So if you missed the morning prayer, that's it, you missed it. If you missed the morning prayer today, you missed it today. And so this connection wasn't made on your behalf or for you in your life on that day, in that opportunity. Same with all the chagim, all the holidays and all the fasts. Okay, so we know there's a certain way to live in our reality, which God laid out for us in the Torah, and where we could see that everything would be amazing and wonderful in our life and in our reality and in our world. But that's not what's happening, right? So let's look at some good ideas that are maybe anti-Torah, okay? Anti-Torah ideas. And also ideals. Okay, so a Jew, I believe, really always does feel the need to, or the want to make the world a better place. That's why you're champions of a lot of liberal causes. But what I'm suggesting is that even though they're a good idea, in actual reality, it doesn't seem always to work out to bring about the result that you intend. When you are talking about equality, it's a great ideal. It's a good idea. But the way it's being handled here in our reality has gotten a little cuckoo. And if you can't see that, then you're over committed to anti-Torah ideas. If you think that the world is looking good today with this, all of everybody having their own truths and their own whatever, and there's no information on gender and no information on anything, and everyone just has their own ideas and everything is valid, that gets crazy. That goes to chaos, which is the opposite of peace, which is shalem. Like shalom, which is peace, shalem is perfect. Okay, so here you're building a perfect you, a perfect person, human Ben Adam. You're building yourself as a perfect person. You're getting more shalem, more whole. And therefore your life is looking more peaceful because you're integrating these aspects of our reality properly as is written for us in the Torah. And if you're not, you're having a lot of good ideas, which are mostly out of your own emotion or your intellect. You've come to understand what a good world would look like. It would look like when everybody is equal. It would look like something like communism. That's a good idea. That everybody just share, like on the kibbutzim. Seems really cute and nice, and everybody just shares, and you know, that's it. But we can see in reality, in actual reality, that these things have not worked out well. They failed everywhere they were tried. Okay? But we also know that when we had the temple, we had world peace. We had abundance. We had knowledge. There was a big knowledge in the world. Okay, so we've also tried that, but it was so long ago. Who remembers? Not me. So, I mean, not most of us. I mean, obviously none of us can remember that, okay? So we would like to have peace in the world. I'm sure of it. I'm sure mostly everybody wants that. And so we're having a lot of good ideas about how to do that. Democracy. Maybe we should just, you only live once and somehow everything is going to work out or won't work out or whatever. These are all ideas. And same with Zionism, which is just the idea that maybe what we need in order to help the Jews, let's just give them the credit of the benefit of the doubt here, say that this concept is just to help the Jews. There's the right to self-determination, to live in their ancestral land where we belong, because after all, we are the nation of Israel. And so we deserve to live here. But what's not correct is that we don't need the Torah and we don't need God. We need the state of Israel with the international laws and the IDF. And now also, just like we had opportunities to see these concepts fail, okay, please understand that communism doesn't work in reality. The kibbutzim didn't work in reality. Socialism doesn't work in reality. And now we can see that democracy can also be messed up quite nicely if some people put their minds to it to mess it up. It can be. None of these things, although they are a good idea, they don't seem to work out overall at the end of the day. And so too with Zionism, because we can see now in the year 2024, which is the year 5784, in the story of the nation of Israel, the history, the timeline, the time, we know that at the end, what's at the end is going to be the redemption. This is a fact. We are going towards a redemption. Okay, so now if you're looking around you and you're seeing a rise in anti-Semitism, and you are, okay, because everyone is, okay, so you're seeing a rise in anti-Semitism, and unfortunately, not to scare you, this is what it probably did look like before the Holocaust. Okay, people didn't Holocaust. Okay, so we should learn something from the Holocaust, okay? We don't need to be scared and terrified and think that the same thing is going to happen to us, because unlike what Hollywood wants you to think, not everybody was a religious Jew. They weren't more spiritual than we are today. Their demographics is exactly the same as our demographics is today, with the majority of Jews already not keeping the Torah. Okay, they were already Zionists. Okay, that is what probably led to the Holocaust. And there's a lot to be said about that and a lot to learn about that. And I encourage everybody to go and get the book, A Divine Madness, by Rabbi Avigdor Miller. Okay, he talks about the Holocaust. It will give you some good insights on the Holocaust and on the Zionists. Okay, so they basically came on the scene. It was after Moshe Mendelssohn started reforming Judaism, okay? So taking God basically out of the equation and changing a whole bunch of things, which is what you know as Reform Judaism today, which if you look at it, is exactly the opposite of Judaism, okay? It's inclusive, it's whatever, and we're not going to talk about that right now because what I'm trying to say is that we know that there's going to be a redemption. That's where we're headed. And we know that the time element is very important, and we know how to manipulate the time. And the evidence of that is that Passover is always in the spring. Okay? And you can see that happening again this year because we had 2 Adars. Okay, so we have correctly integrated, by following the Torah, the time element in our reality. Okay? So these were good ideas, they don't work. This may have been a good idea and it's not working because, as we can see, like I said, in 2024, the IDF has not saved us. Look at October 7th and be real about that. Okay, we had a massacre in Israel on October 7th. Okay, and the state of Israel is anti-Torah laws. We're told in the Torah that if we follow the Torah and live by these ways and separate ourselves and have the nation of Israel being holy, okay, following the Torah, that Hashem will give us the land of Israel, the holy land of Israel, and he will protect us and we will be successful and prosperous and happy and peaceful in this land. Is that what we have today? And the answer is no. We were just attacked by Iran. So perhaps once again, we have proven that these good ideas are not exactly working out in reality, and rather we should follow the guidebook, Horaot, the guidebook of our reality, and do what it says. And what it says is whatever they want to do, leave them at it. You guys, Jews, we do this. We separate ourselves from the other nations. We become holy by doing all of the things in the Torah, and God will protect us in our land. He will send for us somebody who will be a king over us. Okay, we call him the Mashiach, but that's not just a crazy mystical name. It means something. It just means the Redeemer. Okay, so he is going to come because this has to happen, because this is what we're going to. Time just doesn't float around aimlessly. Time moves. You can see that in the evidence of your days. They goes from morning to night and night to morning. And in fact, we're also told that our day starts at night. Erev yehi boker, yom echad. One day is night to morning. So if you are thinking that when you get up in the morning, that's the start of your day, or if you think January 1st is the start of your year, then you haven't correctly understood time, because that's not what the Torah says. The Torah says that at sundown, that's the start of a new day. Sundown to sundown, okay? And anyway, so we could get into a lot of that, but understand that Passover is a time to get redeemed. That's what we're telling the story of. Eliyahu Hanavi wrote the Haggadah. We all need to do the best we can so that we can balance ourselves, and hopefully, Bezrat Hashem, the end goal is to balance also the world. Okay, so it's like this: Israel, 70 nations. Okay, and it's we are the only group of people who have the spiritual information to balance this world. So happy Passover.